This is Dead Serious, a show about short horror stories worthy of discussion. I'm Dead Palette, the reason Overwatch's Halloween update got leaked. Today we're going to be reading Janice.jpg. This has the potential to be really interesting, and I have not read this, but I have my arms folded and I am prepared for disappointment. Let's get right into it. Asterisk, start of document, asterisk. Hi. My name is Mark Spiegelman. Mark Spielman? Anyway, I'm writing this in order to keep any sanity I have left, in order to tell anyone about that girl. I dream about her all the time. I can't get her face out of my head, those eyes, that smile. Who is she? Who is Janice? I'm what you would call an indoors type of person. I never go outside much, just sit by my computer and look for fucked up shit on the internet. I'm well versed in internet memes, YouTube fads, and the best porn sites. I'm not what you would call a porn addict, but when I do watch it, I know where to go. I know the internet inside and out. So when I found out the local police department was looking to hire people with extensive knowledge of the internet, I jumped at the opportunity. I was one of many looking for the job, but as fate would have it, I was the lucky one. The police chief who hired me patted me on the back as I walked into my new office and patted me on the back as I walked in and said, "I hope you're ready for this, Mark. There's a lot of crazy shit out there." I smiled back at him and said, "Believe me, sir, I've seen it all." So we're already in a little bit of edgelord territory, but let's not hold it against that, hold this story against its narrator. Maybe this will end up being believable, and this person who is our narrator is cringy, but maybe that's what we're supposed to be getting out of this, so I don't know. I don't know how many people would talk about, like, being well-versed in YouTube fads as, like, you know, a way to introduce themselves. It seems like you might be ashamed of that. This person is into the memes. That's cool. But who would hire someone for the internet? Like police hiring someone for the internet? That's fucking ridiculous. They might hire people to do technical stuff and have someone who's able to deal with hackers or whatever. Even then, that's probably not something that every police department in America has, or even big places, big cities. So this seems implausible to me from the beginning. But who knows, let's continue on. My job began with basic stuff, mostly just finding various websites that upload child pornography and taking them down, along with grabbing the users who were stupid enough to not use a proxy. And for the first few weeks, it was very mundane work. But as time went on, things got more interesting. Some people were smart enough to hack into the police databases and post different files of murdered victims, confidential cases hidden from the public, etc. By my third month of work, I was dealing with everything from child pornography to extremely clever hackers. The pay could have been somewhat better, but I loved the work. My life was finally beginning to have some meaning, even if I was still sitting in front of a monitor 24/7. But one day, my life, the life I was working so hard to build, came crashing down. So you do have to be, worried about those people who aren't using 7 proxies. I don't know that your local police department deals with child pornography. I don't think that that's a thing that you just give to a local police department. Am I wrong on this? I think that is like FBI stuff, isn't it? I'm fairly certain it is, but whatever. Let's see what brought his life crashing down. I was browsing the internet as usual, trying to find any sites with child pornography. I was getting really disturbed by how much of this sick shit was on the internet. It was like battling a hydra, take down one site and 2 more take its place. I found websites with a URL called sweet15.com. I thought of what that might mean and clicked it. What I saw made my heart skip a beat. This was the biggest child porn site I had ever seen. And being the first one to find it and being able to take it down and find all the sick bastards behind this would make me a hero, not to mention the insane bonus I would be getting. I don't think if you are, prosecuting crimes and finding this kind of stuff that you get bonuses for doing better work. I brought up a site that asked the question, do police officers get more money by arresting more people, or are they paid per hour like most people? And it looks like the answer is they get a fixed income. I don't think you get bonuses for arresting people and that kind of stuff. So this seems rather unbelievable. If you're going to be talking about what it's like inside of a police station, you have to have a good grasp of what a police station is actually like if you're trying to make your story believable, let alone a creepypasta, which should be radically realistic. You should have all kinds of details about the inner workings of a police station. But even just in media in general, unless you're trying to be funny, you should have a good grasp of what a police station is actually like. But moving on. I could see the dollar signs now. This would be a landmark case. Hundreds would be sent to jail, and I would be at the head of it. I composed myself and started delving into the website's content. Just one picture or video depicting someone having sexual contact with a child would be enough to get a warrant to locate any user's IP address. The pictures and videos weren't embedded, so I had to click on their links to view their content. I went to a random page and clicked on a random picture titled Kathy.jpg. I looked at the picture. It was a picture of a young girl with long hair and pale skin, about 15 or 16. Standing in a dimly lit room with a smile on her face. Not a full, toothy smile, but just a slight grin. And that was it. Nothing sexual whatsoever. In fact, the girl in the picture seemed rather modestly dressed. I was about to click away from the picture when I noticed the URL. The picture I was on, according to the URL, was not Kathy.jpg. It was another picture, entitled Janice.jpg. I found that rather odd and decided to go on another picture, Susan.jpg. I clicked the link. My happiness at finding this site was fading faster than it came. The picture I clicked on directed me to the exact same picture as before. I looked at about 15 more and every one was the same. I gave up and decided to look at the videos. I clicked on any file, pennyprecious.wave. There was no video, just that picture file, Janice.jpg. I called a few people into my office and asked them to help me go over more files on the website. At the end of the day, we had gone through over 1,000 files and had to concede that the website was a sick joke by some prankster who made a bunch of fake files directing to the same picture file. I packed my bags and left the office. Feeling disappointed. Packed your bags? How many bags do you have going to work at anyway? I also felt something that scared me as I was driving home. A rising sense of panic, as I thought if I didn't search that site more thoroughly, something terrible would happen. So I think a lot of people know that I'm a huge fan of the story by Cosby Daft, Normal Porn for Normal People, and this is taking a cue from that story where you're hiding completely mundane, uninteresting content inside of a porn site. And this is especially egregious because it's supposed to be child pornography, but it's just, a single picture. I like that it's an elaborate prank, that it's misleading people. That's the conclusion that we're coming to right now, that our narrator's coming to, that it's a prank. But they're getting some sort of sense of dread over it. That I can understand. I would be kind of weirded out by that as well. Why is this website not giving me anything else other than this? It seems like maybe it's clickbait trying to lure in pedophiles, maybe? That's the conclusion I would come to. But there's something clearly off about this. This is something that I want to investigate. This is something where I want to know more. This is working, even if the other stuff before is really destroying the illusion, the sense of realism to the story. So let's continue on. Let's see what's going on in this little website. I opened the door to my house and went straight to my computer. I turned it on and went to the site. I went deeper into the site, looked at the source code, trying to find out anything that would lead me to something else. But every file on the site went to the same damn picture. Her face was burned into my skull, and I knew I couldn't sleep until I found out who she was. I went into the deepest logs of the in the site, and I felt like throwing my monitor out the window when my jaw dropped. So before we get to whatever reveal this is about to be, I wonder what would happen if you get a job like this and then you log on to a illicit site, a legal site on the internet, doing illegal things, having illegal operations when you're not at work. I wonder if that would get you in trouble. But anyway. On the very last page of the picture file logs was a lone picture file called Janice.jpg. I knew this had to be different, with sweat trickling down my forehead. I brought my mouse cursor to the link and clicked it. It was essentially the same picture as Janice.jpg, but it was black and white, and when I hovered my mouse over it, I realized that clicking on the picture would direct me to another link. I clicked on it. My browser shut down immediately and my computer crashed, and all that was left on my monitor was the infamous blue screen that signals certain doom to my hard drive. I cursed and tried to turn it back on. After a few attempts, I was able to get to my desktop. It was the most fucked up virus I had ever encountered. All my programs were deleted, and a pop-up box that said 1,000 picture files were being copied to my hard drive. But the thing that made me nervous was my desktop picture. It was Janice.jpg, the black and white photo. Something about Janice's facial expression was different though. In the regular photo, she appeared to have a smile on her face. In this picture, she was frowning. Not out of disappointment though. I could see something in her eyes. A new expression. Fear. I'm going to be completely honest reading this. I don't know how to feel about this. You in the comment sections, how do you feel about this last paragraph I've read, last two, with the computer crashing and we're getting Janice with a expression of fear on her face? Does this work for you? I'm kind of leaning towards not. Maybe there's something to this. It just doesn't seem quite original enough to me. I think it's ticking a lot of boxes of things that I like, things that I find interesting. I like computers crashing. I like viruses. I like the idea of trolling people with this one picture. These two paragraphs, I think, are hard for me to wrap my head around because I don't necessarily hate what's going on a technical level, but something about it is off-putting and I just can't put my finger on it. Something about it just seems kind of ineffectual to me. And I'm a failure as a critic because I can't figure out what my problem with this is. And maybe I shouldn't try and justify it. Maybe this is working well. It's just something that personally doesn't work for me. But let's continue on. Let's see where this goes. After the pop-up box closed, I went to my pictures to see what had been copied. I started with the first picture. It was essentially the same exact picture as the original Janice.jpg. I started clicking rapidly to the next photos. They were basically the same. I could see one thing that was changing. Her face, in which the first picture she was smiling, had morphed into a frown I had seen on my desktop. As I kept clicking, more rapidly now, I could see her mouth starting to contort into a scream. The pictures were getting darker and darker, and the girl more horrified. Around 100 pictures in, it faded to black. I clicked a few more times. The same screen as before. Same black screen as before. After a few more clicks, however, there was another picture. A new one this time. It was a picture of a bed with what appeared to be a bundle with a blanket resting on top of it. The scene was in a dark room with a few candles burning to light it up. Okay. I noticed in horror that the pictures were red splotches on the wall behind the bed, which were what I knew had to be blood. I clicked on the next few pictures. I'm going to pause a moment here to say that I think that this would be working a lot better if it was a video. If it was like a screen shared video where I could see these pictures happening, because it's a visual image that I think would have a lot more impact if it was delivered in video form. And maybe there was a file dump where you could go through the pictures yourself. That would make it more visceral, more tactile, like this is a hands-on thing for me to experience as well. As it is, I don't know. It just seems, I don't want to say cheap, because I'm often a defender of like jump scares and stuff like that. I don't mind those things. But something about it just, it's not enough there. This concept, I think, would be better if I could experience it myself instead of hearing about it secondhand. And I think we're going to get more information about these red splotches in this bedroom scene and everything, but I feel like we could have taken more time to describe what we were seeing in here, and whether it was messy, whether it was austere, what does this room look like, in more detail, I think would be very helpful. There appeared to be a man walking into the frame. He grabbed the bundle on top of the bed and yanked the blanket from on top of it. My stomach lurched in fear as I saw the girl tied to the bed with her stomach ripped open. I couldn't stop clicking to the next picture. I was clicking so rapidly that the picture seemed to be playing in fluidity, like a flip book. The man who had entered the picture was hunched over the girl now. I couldn't see what was going on. The picture faded to black. I clicked a few more pictures in, and the next thing I knew, I was staring at the picture of the man holding what appeared to be surgical tools, standing over the girl with a fluorescent light shining above them. I watched in utter horror as the man plunged the tools into the girl's open stomach and started performing surgery on her. She was screaming in pain, and as I kept clicking, the man started tugging on the girl's insides. I threw up on the ground after watching him rip out her guts, piece by piece. The scene was so bloody that the man had to go off screen and get a new frame for the camera. Get a new frame for the camera? What does that mean? So why would you keep clicking through these pictures? Why wouldn't you report this stuff instead of continuing to click through it? Maybe there's nothing even necessarily bad about this. I mean, what are the chances that it's just a movie? The pictures were so vivid, so detailed. I started crying as the man got up and walked away. His work was done. A few more pictures in. It faded to black. This is the third time it faded to black. God damn it. I noticed how many pictures I had gone through. This one was 995 out of 1,000. I clicked slowly now, in dread of what might be waiting for me on the last picture. On picture 98 rather. I saw a grainy photo of a young girl staring at me. Her eyes were blank, expressionless. I couldn't see much, so I went on to picture 999. I could then see what the picture was. It was I was face to face with Janice. Her face was covered in blood. Her eyes were open wide, but with an emptiness that I knew was death. I clicked the last photo. All that was there was the black background with a large question mark in the center of the frame. Below it, in large white letters, it was a simple question. A question that would haunt me until this very day. Who is Janice? Bullet point, end of document, asterisk, bullet point, official police report, a bunch of numbers, whatever. The officer that found this document on Detective Mark Spiegel's hard drive. We found this document stored on his computer along with what appeared to be a note. All that the note said was, "Who is Janice?" in all caps, with an interrobang. After going over these files on his computer, we found several documents pertaining as to who Janice may have been. From what we can gather, she was kidnapped from her family around 20 years ago. She was never found. Her parents vanished shortly after the kidnapping. Upon further investigation, officers found computer code embedded in her picture. From what we could gather, why do we keep saying from what we could gather? Let's actually hear the evidence enumerated. Who is this girl? It was a bit of a scrambled bit of code that, when deciphered, linked to a video file. However, upon viewing the file, the investigating officer deleted it and refused to divulge what they had seen. Spiegelman was never found. The case has been discontinued. Just order the officer to tell you what happened. What do you even... Okay. This is a thoroughly disappointing read, if you ask me. It's utilizing so much of what makes Creepypasta great, but it isn't doing it effectively, I don't think. The story is grounded as a document. It utilizes the internet and internet culture and the ability to technology and things of this nature. These are all things that are related to Creepypasta as a subgenre of horror. But it's just lacking a punch. I am kind of at a loss for words to describe my overwhelming problems with this. It's a little bit generic. It's taking from some other things like normal porn, a little bit of Pale Luna in there, but it's just not utilizing these things all that well. I think you would be better. I don't think you could really... You can save the story, I think, by rewriting it. I just don't know that it's all that necessary. I think you should probably scuttle this kind of story and start from scratch. Let's see if we can find an author. I see no author for this. I doubt the author of the story gives a shit what I would think. But let me know what you think in the comments below. Are invisible bugs, they're not actually there. The heroine is just that good.